This episode brought to you by Poison Ivy. Is life getting too mundane and comfortable? Well, why not try rolling around in the woods? Get some Poison Ivy. Spread that oil all around. If you have it on your leg, why not put it on your arm? Tell yourself it ain't that bad until it starts popping up on your hip and your neck and your shoulder. So right now, stop letting life be the same old and get yourself some Poison Ivy. Use the promo code HANDOFTHEHUMAN to get it for free on me. That's the promo code HANDOFTHEHUMAN to get Poison Ivy for your own self today. Let's hit that theme song. Oh, nice. We're going for like existential vibes. Hannah the human. I can get down with it. Get down with it. Get down with it. Man, I tried to record this podcast episode earlier this week, and it just wasn't flowing. And so I thought, you know what, I'll do it at another time. Like I was talking, but it wasn't feeling like what needed to be said. And so I deleted what I recorded, and now here I am recording again. It is not ideal circumstances. I got Poison Ivy as my sponsor, hinted at this earlier. And I itch on my hip and on my neck, and my left wrist is all weepy, with that drippy drip of the Poison Ivy. I got a little bit on that left elbow too, a little bit on the right shoulder, a little bit on the left leg, and even a few spots on the right leg. And I got some on my neck. So I really got Poison Ivy everywhere. And now it hurts to walk on my right foot. I think I heard it when I went roller skating, which was super fun. Don't regret roller skating, even though I fell on my butt, and my butt's a little sore. And even if I did hurt my right foot, it was still worth it. However, my right foot wasn't hurting, but then midway through this morning's lunch shift, serving, it really started to hurt, and I had to keep walking, and carrying trays, and then it just really started hurting. And now it hurts to put pressure on it and to move the muscles. So I'm like, did I fracture something? I don't think so. I think I just pulled the muscle or bruised something, and walking on it did not help. So yeah, I'm sitting on my couch, itching with a aching right foot. And I don't have anything extraordinary to say. It makes me wonder, why am I doing this podcast? I've kind of been hitting that wall where I'm like, okay, I feel like I said what needed to be said. Now what? Like, I talked about my life, and I talked about grief. That episode was really popular, and I thought it was really profound and good. And I'm like, well, I haven't learned any other deep life lessons. I'm in the middle of learning stuff, but nothing as processed as the whole grief topic. And so I'm like, what do I share now? I talked about creativity and music. I mean, of course I can talk, but it's like, I want it to be amazing. I want it to be epic. I want it to be life-changing. I want there to be a point to my podcast. And then I remember I'm doing this for the fun of it. I'm doing this to do it. Which kind of, I was journaling this sort of poem earlier. So I think I'll read it. I'll read this section. Meanwhile, the days go by, in song and deep breaths, in mountains and sunsets, in laughing with my dad and some wine. The days don't stop passing, and I don't stop racing to get to the days going by. After the clarity I talked about last week comes all the mess that me changing up my life brings. I'm stressed out. I'm trying to find someone to take my apartment. I'm, trying to make money here, but then trying to buy clothes for the summer and then trying to plan. And should I save money and I don't have money? And then I'm worrying about making enough money because it's slower at work, but then I still make okay money. But then the week before I didn't. And then I've got this poison ivy now. Now my foot's hurting. And then I've got Passover, which is, I think everybody's probably heard about Passover. It's a thing in the Bible about Exodus, when Moses led the people of Israel out of Egypt, and Passover was instituted to remember that time. The Hebrew word for it is Pesach. Pesach. I just can't help but be goofy. And it means to pass over. That's the name Passover. And anyway, that's coming up tomorrow. And so there's a lot going on. And so it makes me question, what the heck am I doing? Like, am I just repeating some cycle of throwing a tornado into my life by moving and by trying new things? Like, why don't I just stick with the same old, same old? 'Cause change is hard. But then as I'm sitting on my teal couch earlier today, looking out at the sun shining yellow, warm light on the green hill and the purple blossom trees, and I hear the birds tweet, 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 and the sky is blue, and every so often I see a person walk across on the pathway. One person with a dog, then a little later another person talking on the phone. And I take some deep breaths. And I realize, wow, all of this stuff happens whether I notice it or not. As I'm counting my money and balancing my budget and buying food and finding some frozen peas to put on my ankle and Googling if it's possible for poison ivy to get in your bloodstream and worrying that I'm going to itch myself raw and that I'm spreading it and that I'll never be able to jog again. And do I have cancer? Because, maybe that's the issue. I'm being exaggerative, but really it's easy for one's mind to just blow things out of proportion and to just be so overcome by what is right in front of you. And while I'm doing all that and trying to find someone to take over my lease and thinking about how to save money and then when do I move and how do I plan my road trip and how much will gas cost and what can I fit in my car and do I need to talk to somebody about storing stuff while I'm out. Meanwhile, the sun's rising, the sun's setting. There's golden afternoons happening, there's birds chirping, there's fresh mornings, there's cloudy mornings, there's rain, there's sun, there's wind, there's breezes, there's little green leaves forming on the tree branches, there's people walking their dogs, there's little bunny rabbits hopping. When I go out to Idaho, there's going to be the blue waves of the lake lapping. The tall mountains with their evergreen trees, the fresh bubbling creek, the bright, bright stars, the full moon, warm summer evenings with a breeze over the water, hanging out with my family and friends, laughing, dancing. There's all of that happening. And it happens over and over and over again. And it happens just once. And I think to myself, what the heck am I trying to achieve? What am I working for? It can be stressful to live in the moment, because you don't have the security of a 401k and a house and a paid off car and, health insurance. It can be stressful to go and do things and take adventures and go where the wind blows you, kind of is how I feel I live. And yet at the same time, I'm like, but the wind blowing is all I have. Like these moments, that's that's what I guess I'm trying to achieve. These moments of sitting in a comfortable studio apartment, breathing in the afternoon and hearing the birds. Like, I've attained it. And there's things I want, the husband, the children, the house someday, the savings account, maybe the $1 million to make a good quality film, friends with recording studios, singles, albums to be released. That all would be cool. But then it'll just be me with some albums, maybe a movie, maybe a child, maybe a husband, maybe a house, maybe a savings account. And the same old birds and sun and green hills and purple blossom trees in the spring and wind and rain and sunshine and chirpity, chirpity, chirp, chirp, chirp. All of that'll be passing, going by. The days going by. So I guess I don't have it, and I also have it all right now. And that's easy to think. It's another thing to actually feel that. And that's why I guess I wrote that little poem. Meanwhile, the days go by. In song and deep breaths, in mountains and sunsets, in laughing with my dad and some wine. The days don't stop passing, and I don't stop racing to get to the days going by. Why is being present such work? It also makes me think I count my life and define it by key moments. When you look back over the years, highlights stand out, right? Moments of joy, moments of fun, moments of pain, moments of trial. When I think back, what happened the last year? I think of, the camping trip I went on. That one fun campfire when we all were cracking jokes and sipping some good homemade wine. Oh, yeah, that time when I was driving, feeling the wind up on Mount. Oh, yeah, that time on Glacier National Park when I was hanging my feet over the edge of the cliffs. Oh, yeah, surprising my friend for her birthday, seeing my sister perform in a play. That's how I remember time. That's how I count the years. I'm sure that's how you do too. You think back, let me remember my life. It's those big moments, those highlights or lowlights. But truly, I think your brain first goes to all the wonderful things, all the good moments. And there can be a sense of like, I just want every single moment to be those great, wonderful moments. But the fact is, most of life is the going to work and the preparing your food and vacuuming the floor. Have you noticed that? You always have to keep vacuuming your floor. You have to keep cleaning your house. Isn't that wild? It's like, I feel like I just cleaned my bathroom last week. Oh, yeah, I did. And I need to do it again this week. Most of life is that. Wait, I thought I just swept the floor. Oh, yeah, I did just sweep the floor yesterday. And now I need to sweep it again. Man, it really feels like I was at work yesterday. Oh, yeah, I was at work yesterday. And I'm here again, and I'll be here tomorrow. It's kind of like life is like an atom, supposedly, according to science, remembering back to when I studied that in high school, supposedly most of matter is empty space, because technically an atom is nothing with a neutron and electron or something swirling around. And that's kind of how life is, Most of it is the empty. Or not the empty, what I'm saying, but like the filler, right? Not the stuff that when somebody calls and says, hey, how's life been? Not the stuff that you tell them about. Imagine if somebody calls like, so what's up? Well, I folded my black shirt and I put it in the dresser drawer, but then I hung up my pink shirt because it gets wrinkly easily. And then I did polish my lamp. I don't usually polish my lamp, but I was noticing it was dusty, so I polished my lamp. And then I cooked some chicken and rice. I put in some mushrooms and some carrots. And, it didn't taste that great, but it tasted all right. And I went to the store and I've been needing some more sweatpants, so I bought some sweatpants. I mean, there's some friends who we tell that to. Those are the real deals, right? Those are the fam. But most people, when your grandma calls, ring, 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 what do you tell her? Well, the weather's been nice, and oh, you'll never believe it, I got to go to a concert, and you tell what you're looking forward to, right? Oh, yes, and I'm going to do Passover, and yep, tomorrow, it'll be so fun. Yet most of life is the stuff that you don't tell people about. It's the nothing stuff that all the electrons and neutrons are swirling around in. Kind of like how I feel this podcast is. I really honestly feel like it's a bunch of nothing. But it's something, because it is. Because I'm going to release it. I really hope you guys get something out of this. If you don't, you've probably turned off the podcast by now, which is fine. See, there's my old insecurity. Why don't I just believe that my podcast is awesome? Why don't I just think, this is incredible? Oh my gosh, everybody loves listening to me. This is making someone's day as they're brushing their hair, getting ready for all that lovely mundane stuff like work and shopping. Why don't I think that? Why do I think, oh, I'm such a bother, I'm such a bore? Oh well, I don't really care why. I just know that I want to think less like that in the next 10 years than I do now. Oh, here's something I think I'd like to share with you all. This phrase has popped into my mind it popped a few days ago into my mind as I was going on a jog and stressing about life. I thought to myself, or really the thought came to me, trust has carried me this far, and trust will carry me through. Trusting the process, trusting your intuition, trusting the goodness of life, trusting things will work out, trusting that you get what you need, trusting that there's love watching over you, guiding you, intercepting your life with peace and fulfillment. I was repeating that phrase to myself. Trust has carried me this far, and trust will carry me through. I was repeating that to myself as I was jogging, just trying to speak that truth over my mind that was worrying. And I think that's a cool concept. Maybe instead of trust, you put in another word, whatever has been really resonating for you. Maybe it's love. Love has carried me this far, and love will carry me through. Whatever it is, you could look right now or just think really quick. What is it in your life that you feel like has got you to the good things so far? Has it been family? Has it been faith? Has it been friends? Has it been other words that start with F? Has it been nature? Has it been faith? I already said that. Anyway, has it been guitars with stickers? I said that because I was looking at my guitar with a sticker. Whatever it is, what do you feel like has got you to the good places in your life? And then fill in that phrase. That thing that has got me this far, that thing will carry me through. Like for me in my journey, why I said trust is I remember a year ago, I was still really working on trying to get rid of my acne. And a year before that, I had been working on it, and I'd been trying these different supplements. And then I felt like, oh, wow, those are really not helping. And then I kind of regretted doing them because I felt like it threw me off more. And then I added beef liver to my diet. Then I was, drinking some apple cider vinegar in my water every day because somebody mentioned they did that. And then I'm trying these new skin products, and I'm kind of adding little things and then taking away a few. And then last summer, I start eating my raw carrot with coconut oil, and now I barely have any pimples on my face. So I just think about how I had to trust that process, how I had to keep trying, how I had to keep listening to what I felt intuitively. Like I knew, okay, I got to stop this skincare thing that I'm doing, and that caused a bunch of pimples to come up, and it was terrible, and I was like so ugly. And yet I kept pushing through. I knew I wanted to get rid of all my skincare stuff and build up from the ground up. And it's like, yeah, it took a year and a half. It took being insecure about my face, having pain from all the pimples, being red and uncomfortable and not as beautiful as I am now. But I'm so glad I trusted that process, because now I'm where I wanted to be. And so, this process of moving yet again and dealing with, trying to save money and feeling like I'm repeating things, or things that I worked hard are getting worse, like my health, man, I've been really feeling healthy and now I'm hurting and not feeling as great. But trust has carried me this far, and trust will carry me through. And one other thing I want to talk about real quick. I want to talk about friendships and finding people who are safe to be you. Finding people that you can talk to that encourage you. What I just want to say is I guess I've been lately overwhelmed with gratitude at the multitude of relationships I have in my life, and how I really have a friend or a family member for everything. I mean, I talk to my dad almost daily about most everything. He's that safe place for me, that, provider, that source of, that fatherly love that makes me feel taken care of and secure. Somebody that I can confide in or admit to where I'm feeling confused, and he can provide peace and comfort. I have my friend Mimi, who I can call about. We talk about everything. But lately she's been really helpful when I'm processing different verses in the Bible and stuff. Yeah, she's been a great source for me of not only companionship and love, but also wisdom and comfort and encouragement to keep on pursuing God and keep on, my spiritual journey. Then I have other friends here in this area that I was hanging out with over this weekend, and I'll get to celebrate Passover with them. By celebrate Passover, that means we're going to eat a meal together with unleavened bread without leavening, and remember the cool stuff in the Bible about God delivering the Israelites from slavery. And then we're going to rest, and hang out. I'm going to sleep over at their house and then go to some other friends for brunch. I was thinking, let's have donuts and coffee cake, and then remembered all those have leaven. So I guess we'll have unleavened bread and maple syrup or something, living life on the edge. I don't know. But we'll have a little brunchy brunch. And anyway, back to these friends. It's just so wonderful to talk and hang out. And one friend in particular, my friend Megan, she's opened up to me, and I've opened up to her over the last few years of me living closer to them here in Iowa. Not only is it wonderful to have somebody who I can open up to and share about life, it is so rewarding to have somebody share openly with you as well, with me as well. I mean, that's also, I think, a need that we have. We want to be a safe place for others. We want to be the recipient of somebody being their unhidden whole selves to us. And that's something I'm so grateful to my friend Megan for. Not only do I get to talk to her about everything under the sun and get wisdom because she's older than me and has experienced life, but I get to be a listening ear for pain that she might be experiencing or struggle. Like recently, I shared with her a podcast, which you all should listen to it. It's this episode of this podcast called The Connected Life. I'll actually leave the link in this description to this specific episode. It's so good. It's about how we can get insecure in the way that we attach to people, meaning you're anxious. So anxious attaching would be worrying all the time, man, I haven't got a text from them. Do they hate me? And then there's the type of attachment where you just distance yourself. You just disappear, when you're feeling insecure in your attachment, it's where'd they go? They just left. Absent attachment, I think is called. I forget. Anyway, this is why you need to listen to the podcast. It's so good. And then they're talking about how to get to a place of secure attachment and how to do healthy levels of vulnerability and how it's difficult to be vulnerable when you feel insecure. And it was just so good And so it was so fun. I shared this podcast with Megan. And so the last couple of weeks, we've just been talking about this concept. And it's just so wonderful. I have a friend who really, my relationship with her has taught me how to receive love and the blessing of being able to give unconditional love back. So those are just a few examples of all the blessings that I get in friendship and just the relationships I have. And I mean, of course, I have my sisters and my brother and my grandparents and all those other relationships that fill all those other needs. And I've got my coworkers and my friends here that I go out and have fun with and hang out with. And I've got friends in other states, and it's wonderful. So I don't know, I just felt like sharing that. And hopefully it'll be an encouragement for you. Maybe you can look at your life and start to take inventory of all the different relationships that make up like a patchwork quilt and provide all the needs that you need. Yeah, this has been a episode of Rambling Thoughts. Even though I did kind of share that poem earlier, I do also want to provide a classic creative moment here at the end. I am going to sing a little song that I halfway wrote last summer. I'm going to sing it a cappella. It's okay to want someone. It's okay to miss them too. It's okay to feel disconnected and like the thing you want isn't wanting you. It's okay. It's okay to cry for them, to reach out and hold only your own hand. It's okay to be surrounded by love and still feel on an island. It's okay. You're not just fine, you're thriving. The mountain did no wrong to get snow covered on top. You're alive, you're growing. Just because the leaves fell don't mean the tree fell apart. Listen to the grass, the rocks, and the stars. You're okay even when you hurt. 'Cause it's okay to want an out. It's okay to take it too. It's okay to retrace your steps. And when you pass by what you know, to still feel confused, it's okay. Yes, it's okay to disagree. It's okay to have your own view. It's okay to not know who you are, but know enough to believe you're not what they think of you. 'Cause you're not just fine, you're thriving. The mountain did no wrong to get snow covered on top. You're alive, you're growing. Just because the leaves fell don't mean the tree fell apart. Listen to the grass, the rocks, and the stars. You're okay even when you hurt. Maybe I sang that because I have poison ivy. Who knows? But what I do know is that peace to you. Out.